how has your defensive IQ evolved, and what is the mindset now versus earlier in your career when you do switch out onto a perimeter player? And you're kind of, I know that there's a difference, and you touched on this already, between the Utah personnel and the Minnesota personnel, but I'm talking specifically about the one-on-one coverage when you do switch on a perimeter player. How has that defensive IQ evolved in those settings?
I think I've always, since I got in the league, I've always had a lot of pride in guarding the ball and guarding whoever is trying to go at me, especially one-on-one. But I do think that over the years, and also as I've watched the NBA evolve a lot from 10 years ago until now. 10 years ago, there was maybe 2 or 3 shooting bigs in the league. Now almost every team has a shooting big, has a 5 that can spread the floor and shoot. So I've learned how to, get comfortable guarding different situations. And I want to win so much, and I want to, I have that so much drive that I've always pushed myself to get comfortable in these situations, even when it wasn't easy. To the point where, like, now, I feel like I'm in a stage of my career when I'm comfortable guarding any situation and guarding anyone. And I'm also in a place when I think it's good for our team when I get switched on anyone and he tries to go at me, tries to attack me one-on-one. I think the numbers show it this year. I think they were telling me that I was, one of the best ISO defenders this year. So
Hey, man. Congrats on that. Congrats on that.
But, it's funny because there's been a false narrative.
Yeah.
And the public opinion, not your opinion, because you're very smart, very educated, you understand the game better than, the average person. But there's been false narrative that I couldn't guard the perimeter. But every team that I've been on, we guys see me switching on to them, and almost like I see a smile on their face, like it's good for them. And then they realize that a lot of times they realize that it's not. So I've always took that a little personal, because I think defense, a lot of it is being able to have that pride, and I do feel like I've got better at it. I do feel like this year is the best I've ever been, and it's because I've been challenged so much, and because I know that this is a very important thing for me to be able to do, for my team to be able to be where I want to take my team. So it's fun. I just enjoy, being put in different kind of situations.
There's a couple different components, I think, for you in space, or Anthony Davis in space, or Joel Embiid in space. There's the component that you're talking about, which is you having to guard one-on-one in space, right? And that's, look, for any big, I think that's a challenge when you get switched on the perimeter player. The other component is that you're not next to the basket. Like, if you think, I'll give you examples of this. So, like, you think back to the Warriors-Lakers series last year in the playoffs, and the Warriors ran the most high pick and rolls that they had run at any point in time in Steve Kerr and Steph Curry's era, because they wanted to get Anthony Davis away from the basket. Why? Because Anthony Davis is a top 10 rim protector. Everyone else on their team doesn't protect the rim. We need to get him away from the basket. I remember playing you guys with when I was on the Mavs. I was not playing. I was in street clothes. But, you guys matched up because of Kristaps pick and pop stuff. Obviously, that's a problem against drop coverage. So you would match up with Dorian Finney-Smith, right? And like Rick Carlisle's mindset is, okay, great. So let's involve Dorian Finney-Smith in actions and try to get Rudy away from the basket, right? Like, that's the whole thing with this. And another component of this entire philosophy around elite big men defenders is the cross-matching. And you guys did it last night. A bunch of teams, Lakers last year in the Western Conference Finals, Philly, teams do it against Philly with Joel Embiid. can you explain, because I think people get caught up in these matchups, right? Oh, so-and-so's not guarding, so Jokic and Embiid aren't guarding each other. But there is a philosophy and there is a reason for that. Can you explain, and you can use last night, for example, a very specific example, but can you explain the philosophy of the cross-matching where you are not guarding your position against a player like Joel or Jokic?
So I love that you get into this because I really wanted to. I think it's important for people to understand that my mindset as a defensive anchor and as someone that want my team to be the best defense that it can be. We get caught up in these matchups, and they are great. It's very exciting for the fans, for people to see Joel versus Rudy and Jokic versus Rudy. But basketball is a team game, and it's important to understand that. It's important for me to, like, when I come into the game, I'm not thinking that I want my man to score 0 points. I'm thinking I want to stop the other team. I want to limit the other team. If my man, not that I want that, but if my man score 30 points and the other team score under 90 points, that's best defense in the league by far. So I take that every night, and I know that, guys are so talented in today. I mean, the level of talent has never been so high, and, and you know that it's became harder and harder to guard in this league. And the rules also, I think, played a big part in that. But the level of talent is incredible. And, being able to take away your ego and understand that when I step on the floor, I'm trying to limit the other team. I'm trying to make the other team, I'm trying to impact the 5 guys that are on the floor, and even the bench, and even the coaches. I'm trying to impact everybody and make them score as less as possible. And if that means that I gotta sometimes help a little more, I gotta leave my man a little more, but I'm gonna completely shut down some of the other guys and completely shut down the paint and completely take away the people's rhythm. That's my goal. That's my goal. And I know that everyone wants to see the one-on-one matchup, and there's always going to be one-on-one matchup. I'm always going to, even if I don't start on Jokic, I'm always going to guard him a lot of times in the game. Same with Joel. But we got to do what we think is best for the team and what we think is best to limit the other team. And once again, even when I'm not starting on Jokic, at the end of the day, I'm guarding Jokic because I know that my job is to help whoever's guarding Jokic. My job is to, be there for him. And it's just that we do it differently. We do it so that I'm not the initial defender. Or sometimes it's almost like a zone at times. I'm guarding the zone, and if I do a great job guarding this zone, usually the other team is gonna struggle.